On today's episode, I'm going to give you my review for the latest Stephen King adaptation, The Long Walk. Greetings, movie fans, and welcome to SMG Movie Talk. And thank you for coming on this journey with me. It's been a lot of fun so far creating these videos and having some dialogue about different films, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where we go from here. I currently have the goal of 100 subscribers, and that doesn't seem like a very high goal. I'm at about 40 right now, but I have had videos that have had over 100 views, so I'm just hoping to continue to grow this channel and get up to that first benchmark of 100 subscribers. Once I do, I will release a video of my top 25 favorite films of all time, and I think that'll be a lot of fun to put together and to release and have more dialogue about film in the comments of that video. If you have the chance, please like this video and leave a comment, maybe talking about The Long Walk. Tell me what your thoughts were on the movie, or maybe if you haven't seen it, do you plan to see it, or anything like that. Any kind of engagement on this channel will just help to grow the channel even more and help me to get that goal of 100 subscribers. Anyways, without any further ado, let's dive on in and let's talk about The Long Walk. Now, I will have some spoilers on this video. I'll try to avoid any major spoilers, but there'll be some light ones that might be sprinkled in. So if you want to go completely removed from any kind of spoilers, maybe you wait to watch this video till after you see it. But again, I'm not going to spoil who gets killed or how it ends or anything like that, but there may be just little sprinkles of spoiling throughout this video. Anyways, this film was based on a Stephen King novel that he first wrote back in 1965. It was actually the first novel he ever wrote. And he actually wrote it to try to impress a girl. So it was basically something where he would send her a few chapters every few weeks or months, and it really was just trying to impress her with writing, and ended up writing a book. Now, when it was released, or when it was written back in the 60s, it was around the time of Vietnam War. So there are a lot of parallels to the Vietnam War in this movie. Essentially, the premise of this film is there are 50 men who are ages, they don't say the exact ages, but probably like 18 to 22. And they essentially were entered in a lottery, and one from each state were picked. And basically they are picked to go on this walk where they just continue walking until there's only one standing. And essentially what happens when one can't keep up anymore, if they fall below 3 miles an hour, if they run off course, whatever may happen, they get executed until there's just one left standing. Now, this world that the movie takes place in is a dystopian future that the United States is ravaged by war. Most people are poor or destitute. No one really has a whole lot of hope. And the whole idea of this walk is to drive hope amongst the people of the country. Basically, they say that after every annual walk, productivity skyrockets, people start working harder. And so that's kind of the reason for the walk. Now, you're probably asking yourself what I was asking before I went into this movie. Why would you do this? Why would you go on this walk where you have a only 1 in 50 chance of even surviving? Well, they basically talk about in the movie fairly early on that essentially everybody joins this lottery. It's kind of a duty of men of the proper age that they all enter it. It's just part of what they do. So it's while it is optional, they don't really feel like it is optional. They feel like, well, everyone has to do it. That's just part of your duty as a citizen. So that's really why they do it. And also on the other side, whoever does win gets a lot of money. They don't specify exact dollar amounts, but they get a large sum of money and essentially get any wish granted that they want. So the wish could be they want a car, they want a house, they want whatever it may be. Any wish that they want, they will have granted. Now, it's within reason, because some of them talk about it early on, well, let's wish for this walk to never exist again, or let's wish for there to be 2 winners, or whatever it may be, and they say, well, it's against the rules to wish to change the walk. So that's one kind of caveat on it, that they can't make those wishes. So really the wishes in many ways have to be almost selfish wishes of things that they want for themselves. So this movie, it stars Cooper Hoffman, and he plays the kind of the main character. He's really the POV character of this movie, named Raymond Garrity. And Cooper Hoffman is actually the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman, which I actually didn't realize until I watched this movie, or kind of looked into it afterwards. I had no idea, but he does a really standout job in this film, being kind of the person, the POV character. He's the one who we get to know the most about. We see a little bit of his background. We do get to meet his mom, played by Judy Greer, and we really find out why he's on this walk, which he's got a little more of a personal connection than most of the other people on this walk. But really the standout of this movie was David Johnson, who played the role of Peter. So David Johnson most recently was in Alien Romulus, and he's done a few other things, but that's really the last kind of standout movie he was in. And he was absolutely phenomenal in this movie. I would not be shocked. In fact, I will go ahead and make a prediction now that David Johnson will be nominated for an Academy Award for his performance in this film. Probably Best Supporting Actor. But man, he was excellent. He was really the heart of the film. You see, these men on this walk, these guys, they really build a camaraderie amongst themselves. They really become best friends, and it's really sad to see them become best friends, because they know all along that only one of them is getting out of this. So along the way, they help each other, they encourage each other, and they really build strong bonds that, I mean, if they weren't about to be executed, would last a lifetime. These guys, they are there for each other, which in many ways you think, well, why would you be? Because, well, if only one's surviving, why would you help the other one? I mean, there's times when someone falls and can't continue, and they pick them back up and encourage them to keep going. And it's really kind of sweet to see that element where they're there for each other, they're helping each other, they're encouraging each other, even if it doesn't suit their best interests very well. Now, there are many reasons why they need each other on this walk. For instance, I think it goes about 5 or 6 days, the walk in its entirety, before it ends. And, well, you got to sleep along the way, right? And the way that they sleep is really kind of leaning on one another, while one person is now pulling extra weight and taking the brunt of this walk, allowing the other one to get some sleep. So it's really kind of neat to see how they pull that off. There's some other things that happen in this movie where, well, let's just say if you're walking a long distance, there are probably some bodily functions that you need to take care of, and they find ways to do that in this movie without falling below the speed limit that's needed. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but essentially you have to stay above 3 miles an hour, and if you fall below it, you get a warning. You get a few warnings, and then after you don't get back up to speed, what they say, your ticket is punched, which basically means you're executed. And so they a lot of times are helping each other to their feet. If someone is about to drop below that speed limit for their last warning, they will pull them alongside and help them to keep going. So that's really fun to see, and really neat to see that element of it. But beyond that, I mean, it's not an easy watch by any means. I mean, this is a brutal movie. I mean, depressing in many ways, because you really see just the reality of the world we live in sometimes. Because, I mean, violence and all that is very apparent in our society. I mean, just look at what's gone on the past few weeks in our country, whether it be school shootings or assassinations or whatever it may be. It made this movie that much tougher to watch. So in many ways, I struggled getting through this movie, because, you know, you just think about all the stuff that violence leads to in our country, and it's so sad to see. And then you see it play out in this movie where, you know, these characters are forming these strong bonds and becoming best friends with one another, but that friendship is fleeting because, well, only one of them can survive. And that was really the story that Stephen King was telling, because when he wrote it, it was really an allegory for the Vietnam War, all these young men being drafted into war and really being drafted away to their death. And they may build friendships and things like that, but many of them didn't come back. And that's the reality of war. And that's the story that he was trying to tell through his book and now through this movie. There's some other characters in this movie, like Mark Hamill plays the Major, which basically he's the villain of this movie. He's really the person who he's riding along on the tank as they're walking and walking and walking, and he's yelling at them. I wouldn't say encouraging them to keep up, but he's basically trying to ensure they keep pace and they keep going. But look, there are a lot of other great characters in this film as well. But really, those two main characters, played by Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson, they were really the standouts, and they were really the heart and soul of this movie. And they were the ones you were really rooting for and hoping that they'll make it to the end. But of course, only one can make it to the end, and that's what made this movie such a tough watch, because it wasn't pleasant, it wasn't happy. There is no happy ending of this movie. There's no situation where suddenly they wake up and realize they're all okay. It's not a reality in this movie, and that made it tough to watch. I a lot of times prefer a movie to be much more uplifting and to give you some kind of positive resolution, and that's not what this movie's about. So if you have a tough time with movies that are tough to watch like that, this might not be the movie for you. This also is a very gory film. And again, I'm not someone who appreciates gore a lot in my movies, so in a lot of instances it was tough to watch, but I guess it wasn't as bad as many other movies that would be deemed as gory. But the gore is pretty hefty in this film, because these men are walking and most of them are getting shot, and that's tough to watch. I don't know that this is a movie I would ever really want to watch again, though it was good. Don't get me wrong, the characters are great, the acting was beautiful, the story was intriguing, but man, it's a tough watch. It's a really daunting movie that just kind of takes your breath away, and I don't know if I'd want to watch this movie again. There are probably others who would, and that's fine. It's just not the type of movie I would come back to. In all, I would probably rank The Long Walk 7.8 out of 10. Still a solid movie, a really good story. Again, excellent acting, but just a tough movie to get through. Anyways, thank you for coming out and watching this video and being part of my channel. I appreciate everyone's involvement. Thank you to everyone who donated to my channel and helped me to get some of the different equipment and things like that I needed to really get this channel off the ground. You may notice this will be the first video I'll have any kind of editing tied into this movie. Into this video, so it's probably going to look a little rough. This is going to be my first one with editing, so we'll kind of see how it goes, and we'll have some fun. And I don't know, maybe I'll get better. Hopefully I get better, but for now, thank you for coming out. I really appreciate everyone, and I'll catch you next time. And until next time, be kind to one another. Thank you.